Rub it in.
75 degrees here. I'm just in a little city north of Tel Aviv called Ra'anana. Anyway, so hope everybody's doing well. We're going to go through a bunch of different things that you can use for your classes today. In my conversations with Mrs. Matisoff, I think one of the things that she mentioned was to present a lot of kinds of things that are interactive things that you can show students. So we're gonna do some things that I've shown you in the past, and feel free directions as well. But feel free if you'd like to ask me any questions along the way to ask. And what I'm going to do is I have a document that I'm going to share my screen with you, so you'll be able to see everything that I'm doing. And I have a document that I'm going to send you that I created just for you. That you'll be able to use for your own classes, and there's a lot of resources on here. So I'm going to show that to you right now. Share my screen. Here it is. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see the screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So this Google Doc, we can even add to it. I just put on about 6 or 7 different resources that you can use. Some of them are more like video type of content. Some of them are more game type of content. Some of them are more text. Depending on what you're trying to do, depending on the age, we'll go through what and which websites are appropriate for different kinds of ages and what kinds of things you can do with them. But I don't think we've done this before. I thought I would start by talking a little bit about maps. And I think everybody here probably use maps in different ways, especially if you're teaching anything in Chumash or Navi. You're probably going to stumble upon maps. And even if you're just talking about Jewish holidays or teaching anything that has to do with places in the world, like Jewish cities, Jewish countries, etc. The using maps can actually be very powerful. And what I've done for you is on this document, which I'm going to share with you, there are a lot of different types of things you can do with Google Maps. So I'm just going to show you and give you a little bit of a picture of the kinds of things you can do. And really, it's an incredible engagement for kids to have visuals, to be able to see the places that you're talking about, especially if you're teaching the history of the Jewish people in the Torah and Jewish history, if you teach that as well. So let me start by, I think everybody here is probably familiar with Google Maps. I'm assuming everybody here has used it or has seen you have the app on your phone, or you've used it on your computer, you've used it for directions. But it's possible that you haven't necessarily thought about it as using it in education, using it as a teaching tool. And there are a lot of, and not just if you're a geography teacher, there are ways to use these maps for some really incredible tools, and that's what I want to show you. So first, Google Earth, that's the first link here. Let me just put some space here. Okay, very beautiful interface. And I want to show you some of the features. So again, you could be teaching Bereshis, or you could be teaching, let your mind wander and kind of think about, and obviously talk amongst yourselves about ways that you think you could use something like this. So on the side toolbar, there are a number of different features that you can put in. So let's say I wanted to put in the capital of Israel. I could put in the word Jerusalem also, but this would be a nice way to teach the idea. And the globe spins, and it takes me right to Jerusalem. And this gives you a nice little view of the map. I can actually take us out a little bit. And then if I want to go and actually look at the city in a closer view, you can zoom right in. Here's the Knesset, Parliament buildings over here. Now, let's say I wanted to show them the old city, the Kotel. So let's go over here. Okay, you can see the old city from above. And then you take our little man over here and you drop him wherever you want, actually. We're going to drop him right here. Let's see if that works. And we are now standing at the Kotel. The technology really is amazing. Maybe I should put him in the women's section. The technology really is incredible. It's obviously a really cool thing to be able to do with your students. So we could do something like if I'm teaching Parshas Chaye Sarah, and I wanted to do. I think you can actually type in Hebrew. Probably. Let's see if I can put in Marat. Oops. Machpelah. So last week's Parsha. Marat Machpelah. Okay, the globe spins, and I am now in Hebron. Standing in Hebron. Take my little man. You see all those little blue points? Those are places where you can drop the person for street view. And then I can take them right in to the actual Maras Machpelah. There's Yaakov Avinu. So it's really powerful stuff, amazing for kids to be able to actually see. There's Leah. Okay, this week's Parsha, whoever's teaching, the Parshios of Shavua, you can show them where Maras Machpelah is. You can show them Kever Rachel. You can show them Yerushalayim, so on and so forth. This is just one way to use the map, just to show students what it is we're actually talking. These are real places. These are places you can go and visit today. And if you can't get there because you can't get on a plane right now, we can bring those places into the classroom and show them to you on the board. Some of the other features that they have here that I wanted to show you. So they have this thing called Voyager. So they have kind of ready-made lessons or ready-made places that you can go and visit. For example, if I wanted to, if I was teaching, this would be more for a class about politics. This would take me to teach me about how the congressional today's an election day for you guys over there. So this would be interesting for that, and they give you explanations. So that's Google Earth. Obviously a very cool resource. They actually have something on here. See that little dice? I like doing this. It takes you to a random place in the world. So if you click on it, it moves the map, and you can learn. You can learn about any place in the world. There's a public recreation, nature preservation area. Let's try another one. Tashima. Don't know where that is, but now we'll find out. Okay, somewhere in Japan, so on and so forth. Really awesome, really cool, engaging, and can teach kids a lot. So that's Google Earth. There's something else that I put on here, which are called virtual walkthroughs. So this is a document where if you wanted to teach, these are also ready-made kind of things that people have gone with cameras and they've recorded all the stuff, and now it's all stored in the Google Earth platform. I don't know if anybody here has ever been to, let's say, Times Square in New York. This will take me right to there. Let's see, loading. Second. It's taking. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, here we are in Times Square, and you can walk around. You can walk. I think you can walk around. I don't know if you can walk around in this one. Maybe you can't walk around in this one. But there are certain ones that you can walk around in. Anyway, you get the idea. I wanted to show you some other things that you can do with this. Just the one I want to show you. Okay, I wanted to show you, let me jump down a little bit. Okay, there's a very nice website. I may have shown this to you before. It's called Hatanach. It's a teacher's, actually basically an educator's website that was created by a school in Gush Etzion called Herzog. It's a teacher's college here in Israel. Very well-known teacher's college, and they've created a website for teachers to use, which has an English version, has a Hebrew version and an English version. You can the link is here in this page, so you'll be able to see that yourself. And you can basically, it's a very user-friendly website. You can pick pick a sefer if you're teaching Chumash, you're teaching Navi. So let's say I'm teaching Sefer Yehoshua, for example, and I want to teach about, the Jewish people are coming into the land of Israel. Okay, you have the English here, you have the Hebrew, and I just wanted to show you a little bit about the way that we can use the maps. So this website has built in like a Torah map. So Google Earth obviously is a regular map, but this map has all of the places in Tanakh. All of the places that are mentioned in Tanakh, you can find on the site, and they'll show you where those places actually are on a modern day map. So I'm going to show you some examples. This is Sefer Yehoshua. Obviously, the Jewish people are crossing the Jordan River, and you want to show the students where is the Jordan River and where did they cross. Now, this gives you kind of like, this would be what we would call like the biblical map or the map of the Torah. And then, if you see in the bottom right-hand corner, you have these kind of options here for layers, and where it says modern map. So if I click on this, all of a sudden, all of the places and cities and countries that you'll find today on any regular map show up. So you can see the place that's mentioned in the Navi relative to places that you can actually go visit today. Obviously, the Jordan River is still there, hasn't gone away. So that's an easier example. But you can show the students this is exactly the place where the Jewish people cross, and you show them how close it is to Yerushalayim, to Yericho, right? The story of Yericho. It just gives it's a little bit of a window in how far things are from each other, right? That was the first place they battled against. And if they actually want to go, and there's nothing you can do about this, the baptismal site. I don't think you can get rid of that. If they ask you what that is, you'll have to, I don't know what you do when those kind of questions come up in your school. And you can go put your person down. Okay, here we are somewhere on the Jordanian border between Jordan and Israel. And then I can go back, zoom out. So that would be one example. Name me another sefer in Tanakh that somebody's teaching. Anybody here teaching any Navi?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Shmuel.
Shmuel, can you give me like a parak that you're teaching? Recent.
I'm still in the beginning, but I've done all
Shmuel Aleph?
through
Shmuel Aleph you've done? Okay, so let's see Shmuel Aleph. Just go out of this for a second. Okay, so he said Shmuel Aleph. That's fine. Okay, I gotta. Second. Okay, let's go back in. Shmuel Aleph, Parak Aleph. Okay. You saw how I did that? It's pretty straightforward, pretty user-friendly. And they also have other things on this website which are very nice. Probably not necessarily things that you would do with your students, maybe. They have commentaries, of course, and they have articles and audio, video. But if you're ever preparing and you're looking for a shiur or something that's been written, this website has all of that built in. Just to show you, for example, You know, this gives you an article about Chana. These are all teachers that are involved with the yeshivas in Gush Etzion. I don't know if you've heard of any of these. Many of them are big kind of Tanakh personalities here in Israel. And I click on maps. Okay, so let me make it enlarge like we did before. Okay, so in Parak Aleph of Shmuel, you have Shiloh, which was the location of the Mishkan before there was a Beis Hamikdash, and Ramatayim Sofim. And if I go map, Shiloh is a place that still exists today. There are people that live in Shiloh. That's a real city in Israel, and they've done excavations there, and they found a lot of evidence that there was a Mishkan there. And if I take my little guy and gives you a little bit of a preview, that might even be an archaeological site. Oh, see, there we go. I don't know if this is excavations from the time of the Mishkan. I'm not sure when, but I am in the city of Shiloh. This is the place where the Mishkan was. You know, the whole story of Chana. And it really is amazing to be able to show the students these graphics, these images, these places that exist, that are real places where real people are today, and brings it alive. It just brings it alive in a way that you wouldn't be able to do by just reading the words. So I'm a big proponent of using maps. I think it's a very powerful tool to engage students. There is one other link that I put on here that's called, I think is it this one? My Maps. Yeah, it's this one. So there's one more kind of feature that you can do using this one. This is called Google My Maps, and what you do is you can show students the process of a journey that somebody took. So let's say I was teaching Parshas Lech Lecha. Anybody here teaching the story of Avraham in the room? Yeah, some people. Okay, so let's say I'm teaching something like, you know, the story of Avraham's journeys from his birthplace to Eretz Canaan and etc. And he goes to 10 different locations, right? Show on the map where all of these things are. Where did Avram travel from? What was the distance? How long did it take him? These are interesting things, and to actually show them where these things are. Where did Avram come from? So we're not entirely sure exactly the pinpoint location where Avram came from, and the modern day equivalent of the name in the Torah where Avram came from is probably hard to know. But if we put in, let's say that he came from something like Iraq, somewhere in Iraq, which is probably where he did come from. So I'm just going to put in Baghdad, which will take me to the city over here. And then what I can do is I can say, okay, let's say I'm Avraham Avinu and I'm traveling, and I want to travel from Baghdad all the way to, what was the first place that Avram came to?
He went to Shechem.
Shechem? Was Shechem the first place? Okay.
Moreh, that was on his way down to Eretz Canaan. He went there, then he went to Beersheba, then he went to Mitzrayim.
Right, he stopped in, okay. So this gives you, this would be driving directions. He's not driving, so you can change your transportation mode. You can change your transportation mode to walking. It gives you a route. Yeah. And then what you can do, this would be more like a lesson plan. Like you could prepare this map. You can save this map. I'll show you how to do that in a second.
No, they need to set another app, like another option of animal.
Especially that.
Then you have to have one with pizza set there. We did it all day.
Right. And then you could do, we'll title this map Abraham's Journeys. And then you can take this little marker over here and you can like make, you can make these. Hold on. So this is done. The driving route. If I wanted to know the distance, there's a little ruler here. You can, grab it. It shows you the number of the distance. There's a way to, I think it's, no, it's not letting me do it right now. It's this. Anyway, you can actually work with other people on this map. You can share the map with other users and multiple people on the same map. And what you could do, it's not working for me right now, you can add these markers along the way, and you can put a picture, you can put information at this place. This is what Avram did. You can put in the psukim. You can add the psukim into, this is where he started from. Then God told him, Lech Lecha. You can kind of go with it where you'd like. If you want to see some examples of what people have done with this kind of thing, I also included a link for you to see some examples of this. Not so much for Kodesh, but just to give you a sense. So there's something called Tour Builder, which is using the same interface. And I'll just show you one or two examples. So this example that I wanted to show you was gallery. Here we go. Okay, so this is American Revolution. Some of you American history there. And basically what it does is it's kind of like a slideshow, but it's with visuals, and it's a map slideshow. So, the introduction will tell you, today you will tour the globe as we examine critical events and battles of the American Revolution. And they show you all the most important places in the world where different events happened around this point. So, it starts in London, Treaty of Paris. Then they take you to Lexington, and they give you a little picture here and some information, with questions, so on and so forth. So there's a lot you can do. I'm giving you all the links here, so it's really, for you to go and have fun with it. I didn't realize it was only going to be Kodesh, so I added some other things in here that math teachers could use, and other ones. Here's one that I actually.
We also have over where you can't see. We do have a general studies teacher here.
Oh, we do? Okay. So anyway, you can go and look at it yourself. If you teach geography, there's a really cool game here for geography teachers where they basically they give you a map, and then they give you a question, and you have to drop a pin in the place that you think it's answering the question, and then the closer you get, the more points you get. Anyway, all kinds of different stuff here. So tour that on your own. So that's a little bit on maps. I'm a big, I think it's really, really important to let kids see the world, and especially you're teaching a lot of topics that are talking about places that are real places that they can see through images, through maps, through street view, through whichever way you go about it. Okay, I wanted to introduce you to something also. I'm not sure we've done this before. Is anybody familiar with Jewish Interactive? Anybody here ever seen their platform before I open it? Just curious? Sounds like a no. Okay.
I might have done it with my
You have used it? Okay, so Jewish Interactive is a British company that's based in the UK, and the platform is basically Jewish games. I know that many of you have probably used Kahoot, and I think we've done that before together, so I didn't include that here. I think everybody's familiar with that. This is like taking the idea of a game, of doing a game with students, but the whole platform is all Jewish content. So you don't have to worry about, Halloween and Christmas and all the other stuff that, comes up on Kahoot. This is just dedicated to Jewish studies and Kodesh. So it's very nice in that way. It's like a kind of a safe environment. and it's all browser friendly. And you can do a lot of the stuff. If you have iPads, that's the most ideal, because then the kids can really play on their own. If you ever have an opportunity to bring iPads in, that would be like the ideal and best way. But you could run a lot of their content just through their website, just from your board with the whole class. And I'm going to show you a few different examples. So this is their this is the first link, which takes you to their home. JITap is just one of the products that they've created. It's an app, so if you have kids who are they have a lot of like 101 kind of stuff. When I say 101, I mean like beginners in Judaism. Like if you have any students in your school who have weak background in Chagim or in any kind of area of Judaism, they really have done a nice job creating games that are really fun and educational stuff on the Parsha, as you're seeing across my screen. And everything is just kind of like clickable. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, people are probably familiar with. He's kind of one of their big fans, so he has a lot of content on here as well that's been recorded. They have stuff on mitzvos. They have stuff on aleph beis, on reading, on kriya, which I think is probably something that you do. So there's all. I just wanted to give you an overview. You're definitely gonna go spend time yourself, and I'm just gonna show you a few examples of some of the games that they have. So here is something that they created, which was teaching the Jewish calendar, or Jewish kind of zmanim that we have in a day. So let me just actually, I want to make sure you can hear my sound. I have to, here we go. Okay. So let me make this full screen. Okay. So really very nice interface. Kind of depends. You have to play around with it and see what age it's appropriate for. But if you're teaching, the idea of what you do in the morning, what you do at night, Zmane Hayom. I don't know if that's in your curriculums, but this is just one example. So you can kind of start the game over here.
A Jewish day begins at sunset.
Tap the times of day to learn.
Okay, and here you have options. You can click on different times of the day, and it shows you an image to give you, and then it will teach you what the word means. So let's just pick one. Let's do
Netzachama, sunrise.
Okay, and that's like kind of would be the first part of the game, just learning what these words mean, what all these words are. They'll read it out to you.
Stars out.
And they'll give you an image. And then on the next page, there'll probably be some kind of activity where they test you.
Tap anywhere to begin.
Where they'll test your knowledge from
to
what you learned.
infinity and beyond. Shkia is when the sun sets in the sky. Tap on when the sun sets.
It's very nice because of the imagery, as you can see. Very well done.
Shkia. Sita kochavim.
Okay.
Stars out.
Everybody gets the idea on that one.
Clearly visible.
Let me show you another one. Any questions, by the way, about what you just saw?
Yeah,
Anybody?
I just want to ask, everything you're showing us falls under
JITap. Yeah, they're all
JITap. Yeah. Let me just go back to the main website for a second, and I'll show you how to navigate. Let me just move this.
Yeah.
on the page.
Okay, so if you see where it says all categories.
FE.
Yes, go ahead.
So, because we don't have that as a document, before you send it, can you give a quick blurb as to what was what as a reminder?
Which part?
The document that you have all the links on.
Yeah.
Like, we're not remembering what's what, and everyone wants to.
Okay.
Yeah. If before you send
Naming
it.
website. Is that good? If I put that there, that help everybody?
Yeah. Also the Hatanach. Like the Hatanach does.
Over here. Maps for Torah and Navi. Yeah, and if any, I'm happy to put more information if you'd like, but you'll let me know. So let me just, so over here, as I was showing you, you can go to the categories, and then they have all these different, so JI calendar is the one I was just showing you. Let me show you a few other examples. Let's say I was teaching mitzvot. So they have a lot of different things on here that they've developed. So this is a game about mezuzah, and they teach you what a mezuzah is, and
Just finished.
And I just walked through a doorway with a mezuzah. A pasuk from Shema tells us that we should hang a mezuzah on each doorway of our house, but not on the bathrooms. Inside the beautiful case, there is a piece of parchment with the first 2 paragraphs of Shema written on it. When we see
so each slide will kind of give you some information.
where is the correct place to hang a mezuzah,
and then
tap on the correct answer.
After a few slides, they have like a quiz, or they have a question, that you have to answer. So let's put in the answer.
Correct. We hang a mezuzah on the upper third of every doorway of our home.
Okay, so you get the idea. I just want to mention.
There are verses written in the mezuzah. Where do they come from? Tap on the correct answer.
I want to mention as follows. If you're on the main website, it's important. You can see over here on the right side, ages. So you can basically put in the ages of your students, and then they'll give you age-appropriate games. Like the games you'll have to pick and choose, because sometimes your kids will be on a higher level than what they've chosen, or they'll be on a lower level. You have to kind of go through it yourself. But go ahead.
Is everything free? Like, do you need
everything is free. Everything is free. If you would like to, let me just say a little bit more. I have a close relationship with the CEO and some of the people who design the games. I used to help them out a little bit. I don't do as much for them anymore, but they have a lot of funding, so they really want this to be accessible to all Jewish schools all around the world. But they have something pro. They have a pro, which what it basically is, it's like a school account where you can like have the kids do games, and they can get grades. It's like a whole kind of grading system. But basically anything you try to use on the website, like any game, you'll be able to use. It's all basically free content. And the other thing with Pro is obviously it costs money if you use Pro. I'm just trying to think what the other perk that they have with Pro. I think they may like, if you say to them like we'd love a certain game on this, then they can do it. But one of the things that I didn't even talk about, and I'm not going to do a training on this now. It's a whole other time, and you would all need to have iPads to do this training. You can actually create games. So it's open source in the sense that like a lot of the games that actually are on were created by teachers all around the world. So any teacher could create a game. All you need is an account. You don't need to pay. You can create your own games. You just need an iPad. It's the only way you can create. You can't create a game on a desktop. They don't have a interface for that. So and you can follow teachers. There's a few teachers who are like creating games all the time, and anytime they create a new game, you'll get like an email. So and so has just created a Parshas Shavua, or a Kriya game or something like that. Let me show you a few others.
Is there a way you could search a teacher or a topic?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like I just said, you can go over here. And you can search. You can just search for a topic. You can search for a teacher. Exactly. This is a Jewish calendar. So let's say I wanted to, I was teaching the months, Jewish months of the year. Very nice interface. Let's open it up big.
Here are the 12 months of the Jewish year. But how do they match the seasons in Israel? Let's take a look. To match the months with the seasons in Israel, we need to find clues in the Torah. Tap the Torah now. Devarim, chapter 16, verse 1. In this pasuk, there are two clues. Find the word that refers to a season. That's your first clue. Tap it now.
Okay, so you get the idea. It kind of guides you through. It's literally a whole class activity. It's like a ready-made lesson. There's some really beautiful things in here, especially if you're teaching. Hanukkah's coming up. You want to talk about where Hanukkah falls in the calendar and the time of the year and the seasons, and they show you, the moon and where the moon is and the sun, and it's really very very well done. So that's another one. Here, if you're teaching 39 malachos, they have a whole kind of series that was made on that. I'm just giving you some taste. There's hundreds
All
of.
those links are within this JI web.
Yeah. Under, like I did it like this, so it's all the bullets are under that. All the links bring you to that. I would just kind of selected a few that I thought you would enjoy seeing.
The 39 malachot are based on the 39 types of work that were done for the building of the Mishkan. Malacha means creative action.
So I don't know if anybody here is
The
teaching,
malachot can be divided into
Hilchos
different
Shabbos.
sections. The first section is about the process of making bread. Tap each one to learn, and when you're ready, tap continue.
Right, so you can,
Choresh, plowing.
so on and so forth.
Ma'amer, gathering.
Okay, it takes you through, and then I think when you get to the end, there's some sort of quiz. So this would probably be for an older grade, right? It's a little bit more involved. There's a little bit more Hebrew words. But you could see how, it's dynamic in the sense that it really caters to different age levels and different groups. So that's another one. And the last one on here that I was going to show you is this one, which I really...
In any of the games, is there an option to change the voice or the Havara?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't think so. But there is a woman who has created probably more than 50% of the games on here. Her name is Anat. She did a lot of the Kriya games. That you just heard is this friend of mine. He lives in London. He's a designer for the company. He designs all these games. I highly doubt that they can act because it's recorded, right? It's basically a recording of his voice. So I understand that could be a concern. So maybe you don't use that kind of game. You gotta kind of sift through. Gematria challenge. This one's also cute. Sort of like a math quiz. You have to add the numbers together and put in the right numeral. And then at the end they give you like a score based on how fast you did it. And go ahead. Question.
Could this be used on a personal iPad, every kid? No.
Yeah. All you need to do if you have an iPad is download the app called JI Tap. That's the name. And you can access any of the games from the app. There's also an app called JI Calendar, which was some of the stuff I was showing you before. That's a separate app. So they have a few different apps that they've put out for iPad. I believe they have an Android version as well, but I know you have iPads in the school, so that's how you would. And then the students can do it themselves. So if you're planning a lesson on something and you can get the iPads into your class, it's a great. You would just have to make sure that the apps are downloaded to the devices before the class begins. Of course. Okay, so that's a little bit about Jewish Interactive. It's obviously, again, in terms of engagement, in terms of fun, in terms of the content, it's very rich. They've done a really good job, and they're all the time coming out with new stuff. They have stuff. I didn't even show you that stuff on Parsha Shavua. I'm sure you saw there on Kriya and other sorts of things that they have out there. I told the head of the company that I was going to be showing. She was excited that I was sharing it with another school. So a few other things. These are more like content that you can show. These two, Bim Bam and Aleph Beta. I put in here just in the description. They're both videos on the Parsha. Bim Bam is more for younger and Aleph Beta is more for higher level. The only thing about Bim Bam, I would say, is it's probably coming from a more liberal type of place. You have to sift, and you have to kind of vet it before and check it out before. They're just videos. I'll just show you the videos in the Parsha. They're actually pretty well done, but
Eliezer, Abraham's servant, is off finding a wife for Isaac.
Sort of like summaries of the Parsha. Some of them are, I guess, a bit more appropriate than others. When I say appropriate, I just mean like the way they, the imagery and whatever. You have to go through it and figure out for yourselves. Aleph Beta. Anybody in the room ever heard of Aleph Beta? Yes, no, maybe? Okay, Aleph Beta is awesome, but it's not for young kids. It's really for older grades. Probably, junior high, whatever it's called, 7th, 8th grade. Maybe 6th grade might be able to handle it. They're longer videos. They're kind of like, I'm going to show you some examples. This is this week's Parsha. And it's almost like a class, a lesson. And they have like curriculums, and they have stuff that they've developed, which you can use along with the videos. It's taking an extra minute to load.
What's the name of the app for the maps?
GI Tap.
Oh, GI Tap.
Oh, for the
That's the name. The map. No, the map. GI Map.
Tanakh or Google?
Oh, the maps, Hatanach. Here, I'm going to send.
GI. Oh,
Yeah.
it's GI, but they have 2 apps. You're gonna give us.
Okay, so Parsha's told us this week's Parsha. This is Aleph Beta. You can see that it's a 12-minute video. So, this is something you wouldn't even necessarily need to do in one class. But I would say if you're doing this with an older group, it's almost like a Parsha Shir, but with really powerful imagery. And they have like a kind of a question that they're discussing and they're thinking about. And then they're reading. It's not like meforshim. It's just reading the text in a very kind of creative way. I'll just show you like a minute or so.
Let me ask you a question. Why didn't Esav ever try to kill Jacob? After all, in Parshat Toldot, he swore that he was going to kill him. Jacob had just impersonated him and taken his blessing. And the Torah tells us, Vayistom Esav et Yaakov. And Esav hated Jacob. Al habracha asher bercho aviv, because of the blessing that his father gave him. Vayomer Esav belibo, and Esav said to himself, Aharga et Yaakov avi, I will kill my brother Jacob. So, how come he never tries to kill him? Until recently, I had an answer to this question, an answer that I found perfectly satisfying. Esav never tried to kill Jacob because Jacob ran away. Jacob was in hiding for all those years in Haran with his uncle Lavan. They didn't reunite until 20 years later, and by that time, Esav had cooled off. Who holds a grudge for 20 years? But then I reread Parshat Toldot, and I realized that there's a problem with that answer. Take a look at what the text tells us when Jacob runs away.
Okay. It's well done. I'm sure you're engaged because they do a very good job, and there you have a woman's voice. A lot of them are a man's voice because the guy who started this website is a very interesting rabbi, great, amazing Torah teacher. And this is the kind of thing I think if you are very interested in it and you think you might want to do more with it, I think they have a kind of a school paid version, and they give you like curriculum and documents and all this stuff, teachers' guides and things like that. More than welcome to be in touch with them and find out what their offerings are. But a lot of their content is basically free, like the videos themselves. Now, this is high-level stuff. You wouldn't do this with 3rd grade, but you might do this with an older grade. You might do this with an older group, and you could spend a few lessons. If it's a Parsha Shavua class and you have, 2 hours in a week to learn Parsha, you could do it 12 minutes. You do 3 minutes one day and you talk about it and you go through it and you learn the psukim. There are ways to do this. You would have to kind of think for your own students what the best way. There is 8th grade in your school, right?
No, 7th grade.
It's not for
Oh,
girls.
7th grade. Okay, 7th grade even. I think 7th graders could probably could probably handle it if you do it in chunks, and you kind of chop it up. And the videos are very well done, as you see. Like, I'm not going to play the whole thing. You can go and they have on every parsha. They have on Chagim. They have on Hanukkah, like 5 or 6 videos. They have on all the holidays. They have content. Very rich stuff. Very engaging. Very well done. And again, it's basically free content. You can use the videos in any way you like. It is here, yeah. It is in the parsha, higher level grades. I think if you spend a little bit of time on the website, you might actually be able to find 5 or 6 minute videos. I don't remember. I haven't spent time on it recently. They might have some stuff that's shorter, that you could just play like in a class and then have a discussion about it. But they really do an excellent job with the film, with the graphics, with the psukim. They bring all the psukim up on the screen with the English, and they have the closed captions. So it really is very ideal for like a kind of an older grade that can handle something a little bit more sophisticated. And like I said, they do have a lot of educational sort of materials that are somewhere. I don't think they're available like publicly on the website unless you have a paid version. But if you're really into it and the school says, okay, this is great and our kids like it, then maybe it's something you want to invest in, because they're legit. They're like a real good company, and they're producing a lot of great stuff. They're based out of Long Island, New York, I believe. And they have a lot of teachers who are helping them develop content as well. Okay, so we did that. We showed the videos. We spoke a little bit about Herzog College. Again, I can. Here's a good example of what I was trying to show you before. Where did Avram live? This is just the map. And they do a very nice job. So they'll show you every place in Tanakh where that location is mentioned, and then they'll give you all the places where he lived. Okay, and like kind of like a little bit of a blurb over here about the location, other names, Elonei Mamre. When was this a location? This was the place of Avram and Yitzchak. And gives you all this like nice information as well. So that's all on the HaTanakh website. The HaTanakh website, I think, is it's just fantastic. They've done a really, really nice job. Made it very, very user friendly, and it's created by an educational institution. So they've really thought through how can this help teachers. How can we help educators who are teaching these topics? So spend more time playing around with it. There's tons of resources on there. And again, if you're doing something more high level, they have articles on there. They have some stuff that I think any of your students shouldn't have a problem going through some shorter type of articles that analyze an idea in the parsha or in the Navi or whatever it is you're looking at. Okay, Al HaTorah, we have a couple minutes left, so I'll just show you these last two quickly. Al HaTorah is sort of an offshoot of HaTanakh. It's similar. The interface, I find not to be very user-friendly at all, but they do have some resources on there that are good to just know about. So that was what I wanted to show you. So they have something in here called Art in the Parsha. Now, again, like I said before, everything is, you have to figure out what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. A lot of the stuff here is probably Christian art, but there could be some kind of powerful imagery that they have here. So they have Reishi, Shmot, like Rivka at the well. So if I open this, they'll give you different depictions And again, these aren't Jewish artists. These are real pieces of art that are probably in museums somewhere. And they give you like a whole, I'm going to show you a great example of this, actually. Hold on, let me go back. This is something I've actually taught before, so I'll show you an example of this. So let's say I was teaching Moshe coming to Paro, and he throws down his staff, right? So what did the staff turn into? What did the staff turn into? So everybody's going to say a snake, right? But if you look in some of the artwork, one shows a snake, one is actually a dragon, and the other one I think is a crocodile. This one's a crocodile. Now, what's interesting about this is not just that you have, and this is from a Haggadah. You can see it comes out of a Haggadah. This one comes from a printing of the Torah that has pictures in it. And over here on the left, it gives you kind of a little bit of a story of where it comes from. And then, this is the part that I really love. They show you where in the Mefarshim these kinds of ideas may come from. So that's a really interesting lesson, right? If you show the students this artwork and say, what was it? And what does the word tanin mean? And everybody kind of grows up thinking it's a snake. And all of a sudden there's these different interpretations. It really gives a lot of richness and layers to whatever it is you're teaching. It's just one example that I was thinking about that I've used before. And
anything to Europe on this website?
Yeah, you said Christian art.
Say again?
Christian
museums, it's real art.
It's real art. Yeah, everything here is real art. And again, I think this is Rembrandt. This picture over here. Hold on, it's loading.
But it also shows you a source in Tyro that proves that this was why they did the art.
Exactly. And what's interesting about it is, and again, it's really, you have to decide what works for you and what works for your school and what works for your classes and what works for your students. Because some things are going to be a little bit more, you might have a picture of Moshe and he's not wearing a kippah in the picture. And that's, you wouldn't necessarily want to show them a picture of that.
Right.
But they do a really nice job analyzing the art. So if any of you are interested in art and you want to talk to your students about, what did they, because some of these people were reading the Chumash the same way we read it. They just read it differently and an interpretation, and maybe they were following an interpretation of one of the Mefarshim that you taught. So there really is a lot you can do with this. That link is here. This is only one part of the website. This is literally just one aspect of the website that I wanted to focus on. There are a lot of other things that they provide in terms of resources, articles. So I just wanted to show you that as an example, but you can spend time in their website itself looking at different features. They have a lot of other things in there as well. Okay, Safaria we've done.
I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I've been, last time when you did this workshop, we did Safaria and we did Merkava, and you showed us like the differences. So I've been using Safaria a lot as my resource for creating Chumash work. And I want to use Merkava in the classroom, but I've never been able to get it to work in the classroom. It's never even loaded on the smartboard.
Yeah.
What was the exact issue that you were encountering?
It never even loaded.
Oh, it didn't load. Like the website didn't load.
Yeah, and I know how, like I didn't have problems with other websites, but Merkava specifically, I wanted them to be able to highlight the different parts in the Chumash and to use that part of it.
Merkava has an app, and then they have a website, and I think it's go straight to the app, and then it's not like.
I would, if you're encountering that, usually the first thing I would do is just try to open it in a different browser. If you have a different browser on the computer, maybe don't use Google Chrome. If you I'll add it. I'll add the link. I'll put it on.
Never got it to work.
I just spoke to the head guy today. Actually, he lives in Beit Shemesh. He's I think it's the Merkava.com.
The Merkava? You did that.
I had the right website. It never loaded properly.
This is the website.
That page, circle.
Merkava.com is something else.
Sometimes it doesn't work on a specific type of browser.
I know what you're talking about because I have experienced that before. So it could be you just have to try to reload it or try it in a different browser. I'm not going to have time to show Merkava again, but Safari, I just wanted to make these 2 points. It sounds like people are using it, which is great. Obviously, you have the main page, and the main page is very nicely organized, especially if you're teaching Parsha. You can literally just click here, and it takes you right to the Parsha. I believe I showed you, especially for translations, because this could be hard for kids who haven't seen like translations, with some certain way of spelling things. So if you go into, I showed this to you last time, I'm just going to show it to you again. You click on where the parak is, and then you go to where it says commentary. Sorry, not commentary. Is it under commentary? No, it's under.
Oh my gosh,
I remember how to do this.
I created it on here. Yeah.
No, it's not under commentary. I don't remember where it is now. There is a place here that allows you to change the commentary. Not finding it.
Yeah.
There is also an app, by the way, a Safari app, which is a very well done app. They've done a nice job with it's on mobile and on Apple. The other thing I wanted to show you, if you're ever teaching, sounds like some of you are using it to create source sheets, which is great. They have like a public source sheets page. So that's the second link that I provided here called Sheets. And then just in here, you can either look at the public sheets or you can go to the tag. So they have like alphabetical. They have by teacher also. So let's say I want to. You have one of your teachers on here? Yeah. I'm sure you do. Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Kramer, check if you see her papers on it.
What's the name? No, I think there's a way to do that. You go here, you go to authors. Sorry, I did that wrong. You go to sheets and you go to. There is a way to find. I'm not sure if you put in the name that it comes up. What's the name?
Lucy Kramer.
How do you spell it? First name?
MUSSI.
M?
M as in Mary.
Yeah, you? SSI? Yeah, one sheet. Here we go. Lucy Kramer. Parshas Vayera.
What did she do?
Okay, so we have a source sheet. Very nice. Nicely done, right? Okay, so there you go. You can, if Lucy Kramer can do it, everybody can do it. It's they're very, very, very straightforward to create source sheets. I just wanted to kind of show you some, and they're adding stuff all the time. They have a ton of English translation on here. It's really amazing. I don't know, how many different kinds of Sfarim you end up using, but the translations are very very wide ranging on a lot of different topics, and they're adding stuff all the time. So Sfaria, Merkava, everything has its kind of
example from Merkava with how you can highlight.
Yeah, sure.
That would be very
sure. Yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll wrap up.
Safari is more of like creating stuff. Source. And Merkava you can use is more interactive on the text.
And which one has Source Hadaf? Merkava?
Merkava is Source Hadaf. So if you want to do the highlighting.
It's a whole thing.
So you see it looks just like, and you can highlight.
And it comes there, like the words automatically. in
Is
the
Merkaba
translation
also an
show
app?
like it's not
Merkaba doesn't have maps, no. Merkaba doesn't
an
have-
app.
highlighting.
An app.
Oh, an app.
You can
I don't think so, not yet. I think it's in their plan. They are planning some amazing. Whoops, I just lost it. They're planning some amazing updates, which are going to roll out at some point, which will have like images and videos, and they have all these like big plans, which I assume they'll get to eventually. I know the people that are working on it, some very very bright people.
Can you highlight stuff and
Yeah,
show
what
how?
is it like?
Yeah. I'm trying to.
So obsolete because they're trying to.
And Dr.
Right, that's what it, they're just checking it out. There's Sequoia and specific over
And what I liked about
Oh,
Okay, so the way that the highlighting works is
let's see,
You highlight
what it looks like.
and then
I think I have to log in. Hold on a second to be. Oh no, I am logged in. Okay, so if I go here and I go markup on this page, markup. Okay, so this isn't the markup that I want. Hold on. Okay, let's say I wanted to teach grammar. Okay, I want to teach grammar. So I have all these different colors. So let's say I wanted to teach the. Let's go here for a second. Let's say I wanted to teach. I guess it doesn't really matter. An example. Okay, let's say I want to teach past and present. Okay, Atid and Avar. Okay, so I can click on the color, and then I simply just highlight the text that I'm looking at. So, well, haita, I guess, is present tense. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Point is, I can highlight it, and then I can erase it if I want.
you have the girls highlight the shirish, the prefix, the suffix, the whatever you want.
There is a way to make the colors and you name them yourself, right?
You can actually create your own color scheme, and you are able to do that. You do have to sign up for an account to be able to do what I'm doing. It's free. You just have to create an account for yourself, and then you can mark this up however you'd like, and then it saves. You can save it, and then you can come back to it in the next class. And you can also have the students either come up to the board and do it themselves, or they can call it out, and then you can highlight based on what they say. And that's a very powerful way to teach the text. You can also just going to point out. I just want to point out that there are different views of the. Here it is. This is what I was looking for. Let's say I wanted to just have the text, so you can have just the text like this. If I wanted to just have very large, big words like that. You can have it displayed like that. You can take the translation off. You don't want them to see the words. If I wanted to go literally word by word, otherwise it'll give me the phrases with the pausing. It's also pretty friendly. Play around with it for 10 minutes. You'll figure out how to do most of the things.
It has the chalk.
So I'm gonna wrap up, but I just want to. I'm here. I'm available to obviously to answer questions. If you want to email me, you can send around my email. I'm gonna share this document with Mrs. Matisoff, and then she'll pass it along to you. I'm gonna share it with her right now. And if there's anything that did I do this right?
Yeah.
I did that right. Is it at Gmail?
At mycheder, mycheder.com.
Okay, so now you have a copy of that. It's definitely not an exhaustive It definitely gives you there's a lot of tools, a lot of resources, just lots of other stuff out there. We can arrange another webinar maybe in 1 or 2 months from now, and we can do some other things. Happy to show you other stuff. But enough for you to work on now and to get your to get messy with, and lots of good stuff out there, and take advantage of it because it's there, it's for you. People are creating this stuff for the schools for people to use, and it just often just takes somebody showing you that these things exist and that these things are out there. Most of them are pretty user-friendly. If you can get the iPads into class and get the kids on the games. By the way, last thing I was going to say about Jewish Interactive, JI Tap, if the kids have the iPads and they have the app, they can create the games also. It doesn't just have to be the teachers. The students can create the games themselves. So, highly recommend it. I would, big kind of proponent of their work, and Hatzlacha. Should just continue doing all the good stuff you do, and it's a great school over there. Have a lot of good people, good hanhala. So always a pleasure to speak to everybody there, and just continue your good work.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
So wish you all well. Have a good week. Good luck in the elections there. I hope it's a good result. Take care. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.